All right, let's talk about your database. And I'm talking about anybody in your phone book. I'm not talking about do you have a CRM? Do you have it on an Excel spreadsheet? I mean, just open your phone book in your phone and go through the names. That's what I'm talking about. And it's going to it's going to require you, my brain's not firing. It's going to require you to roll up your sleeves and do some work. Your database is a gold mine. By the way, do you realize to mine an ounce of gold, it's about a $1,200-$1,300 job. So you're mining for gold. That means it's a long-term, expensive, meaning your time and effort, but when it pays off big. So what do you do with your database? What do you do with all those names that you have in your phone book that you're like, oh, where do I start? What do I do? Start with A. Before we get to that, here's the framework. Here's the I want you to categorize each name according to this. So when you open up your A's, the first name in there, judge it, categorize it by saying, if I call that person and say, hey, Joe, it's Mark, do they know by your voice who you are? Which Mark are you? If the answer is yes, they go into your A bucket, your A-listers. If you call them and say, hey, Joe, it's Mark, and they go, and you go, Mark Leisner, and they go, oh, yeah, how are you doing? They go into bucket B. You call him up and say, hey, Joe, it's Mark, and he goes, Mark who? Mark Leisner? Still a pause. Still a deer in headlights. What? Who? What? Who? They go in bucket C. Okay? Every name in your database. Go through it, look at it, and say, do I even know who they are? And if you don't even know who they are, they go in bucket C, obviously. If you know them as an acquaintance, as maybe, I mean, if they called you, would you know who they are by their voice? They're an A-lister, right? If you don't, if you know them by name and it would jog your memory, you'd be like, oh yeah, they go bucket B. But if you have no clue who they are, they're C. Okay. Now, real simple. You take the A's and you call them. However long that list is, every every month they get a phone call or a text message and alternate, right? And it can be as simple as, hey, just me checking in with you, just saying hi. I have a listing down the street. I have a listing here. I need some buyers for it. Whatever reason. Hey, how about them stars last night? Blah blah blah. Okay. So those are reasons to call A-listers and just say, hey, I'm just touching base with you. No big deal. No, not don't expect anything. Okay. And you know, verify their information while you have them on the phone, especially that first phone call, and say, hey, I'm sorry I've been out of touch for a while. I'm really sorry about that. I'm trying to get better about that. And I wanted to verify some of the information I have in my database to make sure it's still correct. So I have your email address as X, Y, and Z. And how's your wife, by the way? Blah blah blah, and things like that. So those are all reasons to call somebody, especially on that first phone call, and then put notes in next to that name. Whatever you find out, have a detailed notes about them, so next month you call them, you have something to follow up on, or to talk to them about further. How are the kids doing, blah 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 blah. Your A-listers need to be in constant touch with you, and vice versa. And then you need to come up with a phrase at the end of every phone call that stays consistent and the same, that is asking for business. And I know you don't want to do this, but I'm telling you, if you don't do it 100% of the time, you're going to miss a lot of referrals. My spiel at the end of the phone call was, hey, can I ask you for a favor? Sure. Can I count on you? If you come across somebody who's looking to buy, sell, refinance, or invest in real estate, can I count on you to introduce me to them? Simple, but very effective. Why do I have the refinance in there? It's another opportunity to talk to somebody who owns a house. There's no harm in that. Can I introduce you to a lender? Great. Deepen my relationships with the lenders I was working with, right? So come up with a way to ask the A-listers for business after every single phone call, and alternate phone calls with texts, with emails. You don't have to call them every month because it gets tiring, obviously. So if they get a phone call from you every 4 months because the other months you did an email or a text, uh, that's good. They just need to be top of mind. You need to be top of mind for them. The A-listers are your main source of referrals. Invite them to things. Have events. There's some realtors in this town who do a great job with events. I would do events around clusters of past clients. So I would take a restaurant in a cluster of clients that lived within a 2 mile radius of an area in town, and I would pick a restaurant with a room where I could rent a room, have some drinks, have a one drink free drink, have some appetizers, and just get people together. Thought you might like to meet some of your neighbors. And by the way, your entry fee to come to this event is bring somebody I don't know. Bring a neighbor, bring a coworker, bring a friend, whatever it is, bring somebody with you. The more the merrier. That kind of money I spent was 10x after those events. Not kidding you. I mean, if I spent 3 grand on an event like that, which was a lot, I got 30 grand out of it. I did 1 million in sales, 1.5 million in sales after those events from the just being face to face with them, being in front of them. So that's your A-listers. Your B-listers, you want the B-listers to work up to be an A-lister, right? So how do you do that? You do that by adding value. You do that by emailing them saying, hey, calling them and say, hey, I want to verify your information. Sorry, I've been out of touch. Would love to be of value to you, real estate and otherwise. And on that note, would it be okay for me to email you every month and just give you a piece of real estate advice or value or whatever you want to do? Some people do great newsletters, some people do a blog, whatever it is. Adding value to those clients, to those acquaintances that are B-listers, is the way to build trust and to get them to be an A-lister. And then you start inviting them to the A-list events as they interact with you more and become more of a-lister without referring people to you. Yet you start inviting them to A-lister events and go, hey, I've got this event coming up and it's my VIP clients, but I thought you may want to meet some of those people. And what I did was I looked through those B-listers, and if they were in sales, good God, I had them invited to all kinds of stuff. Salespeople always want to meet more people. So hone in on those. Attorneys, at the end of the day, they're also self-employed. They're also selling. And you'd be surprised how many professions out there are in sales, not in what they actually do. Selling houses is just a byproduct of your initial sales to consumers, selling yourself. Mortgages is just a byproduct of the initial sale that I make. It's not my business. My business is really not mortgages, it's lead generation. So that's your B-listers. Your C-listers, I'm in two minds about. It's kind of like when somebody gives you a bad review. Let's say out of 5 stars, they give you a 2.5 or a 3. Bending over backwards for those people and calling them and saying, hey, what could I have done differently? I would love to keep you as a client. I'm so sorry that didn't work out for you. It's very seldom that you can move them off that 2.5 or 3 stars. It's a waste of energy, in my opinion. And so C-listers oftentimes are a waste of energy too. And so just need to have them on a drip campaign. So call them once, say, I just want to verify information. What's an email? Would you mind if I put you on a monthly email that hopefully adds value to your life, and see what happens. But don't spend a lot of time with them. unless they strategically are connected to a B lister, or better yet, an A lister. If they're connected to them, then use that A and B connection to get that C connection up to a B, move them up, and then to an A. Okay, so you can use it that way. But it starts with segmenting that database. And if you're anything like me, you have 1,000 names in there. Start going through them. Do a spreadsheet. Keep it simple, and just put the name down A, put the next name down B, and so on and so forth. And just do 10 names a day, and you'll get through it. Okay. So your database is a gold mine. They know a lot of people. Each of those, as you know 200 more people. So if you have 1,000 people, do the math. How many people they know? It's incredible. And if you're not using that right now, you're missing out. You're chasing after social media, which is a great shiny thing, and you get a ton of responses from people who can't even buy a house. You know, what's the point? Of course you got to do those things. That's great, but if you're not doing the basics like this, my opinion is you shouldn't even be doing the social media, because it's distracting you from doing the basics. It's distracting you from where the real money is for you to really build a great foundation of your business. And by the way, the top producers never stop doing this kind of stuff. They never stop the basics. As a matter of fact, many of them have teams that do the other things for them, because they know this is where I make my money. This is real money. The other ones are gravy. They're icing on the cake. I know some top producers here in Dallas, they don't even know what's on their social media account. They have no idea. They just when you talk to them about it, they're like, dude, I never look at it. I don't give a shit what's on there. It's not where the business is. The business is with me hobnobbing. Business is with me having client events, lunches, dinners, breakfasts with top people, with influential people, with people that introduce me to other people, with people that have referred me. I do a VIP trip with people that have referred me. That's what you do. That's where the money is. So don't ignore your database. And CRM or no CRM, you can do this in a spreadsheet. You don't have to have a CRM. As a matter of fact, CRMs are oftentimes a step that you can have when you actually have business, and when you have enough business to justify somebody who actually maintains the CRM for you. And because some of those CRMs are full-time jobs just to maintain them, and it's not your highest and best use of your time. You want to discuss it further, please reach out to me, call me. All right.